gives rise to consciousness as well as what we call as human mind, is it not? So it is an aggregate of matter. It is functioning in a particular manner. Otherwise, hospital will declare as brain death. We also know brain death is permanent death. But for us, brain is pranamaya course. Brain enables me to function. It's like if you do not have utilities in your home, then you don't live in that house, is it not? There are certain bare necessities, gas, electricity, nowadays Wi-Fi connections. These are some very basics. Water utilities, telephone line, all these things. If they are not there, a house is merely a house structure. It doesn't become a home. In the same manner, these background forces. Principal one is the brain, but we have five members: Prana, Apan, Vyan, Saman, Udan, approximating with nervous system, cardiac system, respiratory system, digestive system, and renal system. These are background forces. If one of them collapses, the mainstream says, I am dead. But in Vedic view, the structure is no more livable, so Atma departs from the system. It's same thing, but the perspective is very different. So consciousness is there because Purush is residing, and when Purush leaves, when does it leave? When the structure is no more livable. And next statement is talking about this visible structure that is called as Deha. Deha is a word, otherwise you will hear. Sthul Shayi is for this gross body, and Sukshma Shayi is when my father transported me enveloped with mind into my mother's womb. So I was already enveloped by a Sukshma Shayi. You know, Sukshma Shayi comes, develops, then a Sthul Shayi, then I will die, but that Sukshma Shayi will again be transported into another mother's body. So this migration, the cycle of birth and death goes on. So in this form I have, there is the gross body, the outer body, which grows in size and then stabilizes. So Kapil is saying, they Adi, Adi is etc. Vyatiktau, accepting them, other than body etc. Asau, that Atma is something different from the body etc. Etc. is for mind. So he is saying, other than this body and other than the mind, other than the gross body and other than the subtle body, the Atma is a different entity, but it is not that different. It is something very, very extraordinary that Vachityat, all sorts of unusual things happen in our body and mind, is it not? Otherwise, there is a stone lying there. The stone will exhibit with time a one uniform behavior. It is usually degradation. Anything left alone with time decays, degrades. In engineering thermodynamics, we call it second law of thermodynamics, that inner disorder, that is entropy, or inner chaos, that is always increasing in any thermodynamic system and in the universe. But this body is very unusual. As a little baby, the baby's body is not degrading. It is evolving. It is evolving. Evolving until it becomes a youthful body. Is it not? It is evolving because the Atma is residing there. It is not degrading. Now I am an old man. Now my body is degrading. But it is not decaying like a piece of stone. That would happen when it becomes dead body. Once the Atma leaves this body, then it will decompose. But until then, it is not decomposing. It is very much as a living system. And so is true with our mind. In our own mind, little baby smiles. That makes it so joyful. And somebody is sad. His face is long now. So all these unusual phenomena that you see with body and mind is because that Purush is residing. So he is saying, you do not see that Atma, but you see all sorts of unusual phenomena in a living human being. The third statement says, Shashti. This is Sanskrit grammar. There are 8 cases. The 6th is called Shashti. The English grammar corresponds to genitive case. So he is saying, Shashti Vyapdeshat. Vyapdeshat means in day-to-day communication language, we use the grammatical form of genitive case. When I say, this is my body, this is my mind, so it clearly, api means also, he is offering an additional argument. This is not a principal argument. Principal arguments have already been made. Now he is offering an additional argument. So he uses the term api. Api is for also. So he is saying the language provides us to use genitive case, my body, my mind. So of course there is somebody who is I, who is me, who is saying, expressing his ownership of the body, ownership of mind. Sorry about that. So he's saying, such a nomenclature is an evidence that there is somebody other than the body, other than the mind in this structure. Now statement number 4, there is a element of doubt. Somebody has expressed a doubt. Doubt is implicitly stated So Kapil is trying to resolve the doubt and offer a solution. So doubt is there is a stone, a statue made of stone that is called as Shilaputra. So a learner, the pupil, the disciple of Kapil, expresses a doubt that even in the case of a statue made of stone, we use this grammar of genitive case. We will say the statue has hands, the statue's eyes are like this, the statue's hands are like this, the statue has a head. So, just like I have a body, I have eyes and ears, statue also has an eyes and ears. So Kapil is saying, Na Shilaputra Vat. In statement 3, our use of genitive case, not in that way. The genitive case is definitely used for a statue made of stone, but in not likewise manner. Then he is offering three arguments. Dharmi grahak man badhat. Badha is, these are certain evidences that point that genitive use in case of me and in case of statue are not alike. They are much different. How are they different? Let us look at, first he says, dharmi, dharmi. What he's saying is, in this structure, when I say my hands, then there is a me here. Me is called dharmi. As you know probably, dharm means all our characteristics. And the thing that exhibits those characteristics is called dharmi. So dharmi, in my case, when I use a genitive case, my hand, then there is a me sitting inside, is it not? Who expresses his ownership that these are my hands? Shilaputra, there is no dharmi there. There is no entity. Who is saying my hand? It is we are saying it is his hands. Is it not? There is no dharmi sitting there.
Mhm.
Then he makes second set of argument. The dharmi is not only owner of the head. Dharmi is dharmi grahak. Grahak means a receiver. So through my eyes, it is not that my eyes see, I see through my eyes. So as I was talking about the dipole of Agni and Chakshu, so Chakshu is my instrument, but finally there is somebody who gets to know the sight, who is seeing it. That is called a grahak. He is receiving the optical signals and then he is the knower, is it not? When I see a friend of mine, I am different from a camera. A camera also will see a friend of mine, but I am, as a conscious being, I develop that knowledge. Yes, he is my friend. And then I walk close to him, shake hands, etc. Is it not? because there is a dharmi grahak. My eyes are able to receive the knowledge signals and I am the knower. Is it not? Camera also picks up optical signals, but within a camera there is no knower. Is it not? Finally, somebody will process the film and a human being will observe that. Camera itself is not knower. So in that way, the Shashti period, the genitive case, in my case is different from the statue because I am a dharmi and this is the business of whole Sankhya philosophy that I want to get to know myself so that dharmi will be one day push prakriti vivekhyati. So that is the objective of Sankhya. One day, today I am not capable, but if I understand Sankhya well and I follow the methodology, then deep in meditation, one day I will know my own self, what is called Atma Sakshatkar. Is it not? Then I will know who the Dharmi is. But that is tentative. Today I know I am Dharmi Grahak. Is it not? I am the knower through my eyes, through my ears, and there is no such knower in that statue. So Dharmi Badha, Dharmi Grahak Badha. At the third level there is Dharmi Grahak Man Badha. What is Dharmi Grahak Man? Dharmi is able to receive the knowledge signal today at this point of time. And then tomorrow I can recall this from my memory, is it not? So I have not only the means to know the real-time events, even the past event I can recall from my memory and process it. I met my friend yesterday and I can visualize that meeting, is it not? So what is man is I have made a copy of that knowledge in my memory. So there is a storehouse here where the past knowledge is stored, which I can retrieve at my will. So Dharmi is the knower, Dharmi Grahak is the knower of the real-time events. Dharmi Grahak Man means retrieving the knowledge that I received in the past. So Kapil is emphasizing that my Sashti language genitive case is different from Shilaputra because there is no dharmi there, there is no dharmi grahak, there is no dharmi grahak manbad. All these are exhibiting the knowledge part, jnana, and as you know, the Atma has three extraordinary powers: to know, to feel an experience, and to act upon the surroundings. Jnana, bhog, and karma. Is it not? So up to this point, Kapil has emphasized our ability in the knowledge direction. Jnatatva, ability to know. Now comes bhog, ability to feel an experience. That can be joy or pain, sukha or dukha. So then, fifth statement, it goes like Atyanta dukha nivyatya. We are familiar with the term dukkha. Dukh is defined as a state of mind that is not to my liking. It's very relative. So Dukh is an individual's state. He is in Dukh when he wants to come out of that state. That particular state is not to his liking. He doesn't want it. He wants to get out of it. So like hunger. If I am hungry, there is a pain of hunger, then I make an attempt to get rid of my hunger, is it not? That is so about thirst. All kinds of pain we are familiar with. So dukh is after the jnana you bhog. This is an experience. And when there is a dukh, you make an attempt to get out of it. That will be action. The action is towards dukh nivritti, means I want to be away from this pain. So pain is dukh, nivritti is I want to get rid of this pain. So any attempt, any effort you make, that is in action mode now. So I hope you understand that jnana, bhog and karma, there is an interplay of our life every moment. Like at this point you are trying to learn what Kapil is talking, but then there are moments when you are stuck with a pain and then you will make an effort that is like karma, karma to get away from pain. So effort is in the direction of dukh nivritti, is it not? Atyant is absolute. Our typical efforts that we make in the worldly life is dukh nivritti. Then another dukh strikes us. Then we again make an effort to get away from the second dukh. Then some other thing. Sometimes we can plan for them. Look, it is daytime here. Later in the evening I will be hungry again. So you can plan. You can buy grocery for a week. Keep things ready. You don't start cooking when you get hungry. You plan it. You are likely to get hungry 6 p.m. Okay, let us cook food at 4 p.m. Is it not? Because this is a kind of a recurring pain. We know it. But some pain is, some dukh come unannounced. So we don't have to go into those details at this point. But the Sankhya has a very wide agenda. Sankhya is telling us, assuming we are familiar with tiny efforts that we make for dukh nivritti. But he's saying, he's a rishi, he says, I will give you a methodology of atyant dukh nivritti. So there will be absolute getting cessation of pain. You can imagine what kind of confidence Kapil must be having, that he is able to tell us, there is a mechanism to get away from all kinds of pain and misery in absolute sense. So that is called atyanta dukh nivritti. And that, he says, is the objective of the human life. When you have achieved that, so he introduces a term, krat katyata. First term krat means done, I have done it. The second term katya means what was to be done. Is it not? So the second term katyata means I have done what was to be done. So what he is saying is, if you have mission accomplished, that is called, you know, in day-to-day language, mission accomplished. But everybody has different mission. Here the mission is atyanta dukh nivritti, absolute cessation of pain and misery in my life. Then he says, once you have achieved that, there is no more effort, nothing more to be done. There is a closure as far as your efforts are concerned, because you have achieved what was to be achieved. Now, again, his disciple raises an element, a doubt. He is saying, why did you not say dukh nivritti by sukh pravitti? You know. So his disciple is saying that I would have expected you to teach me a mechanism of life, method of life, that I get away from pain and I go towards joy and pleasures of life. But you have not mentioned anything about getting into sukh pravitti. So joy and pleasure is called sukh. So in Sanskrit, these two prefixes are very common, su and du. Su is usually positive, like in swasti. Du is negative, unwanted. So, disciple is saying, in day-to-day life, every day, we fall into the pain of hunger, but we just don't eat anything. We eat tasty food, is it not? We want to enjoy the food also. So, we have a dual objective. Get away the pain of hunger and get the joy of delicious food. So, getting away from pain or replacing pain by joy, that appears to be a more smart strategy for a common man, isn't it? So that is the doubt. And then Kapil is responding to it. Statement number 6. Yatha dukhat klesha. Yatha means as. Dukhat means pain, misery, suffering. Klesh means some sort of uneasiness, you know. So what he's saying is, once you are stuck with a pain, there is some sort of uneasiness. You want to get out of it, is it not? That's what dukh is all about. Purushasya, that Atma, the owner, because he has been struck by the pain, now he feels uneasy and he wants to come out of it when struck with a pain. Then he says, the second part, na tatha. Yatha and tatha go together. As we see the uneasiness when we are struck with a pain, na means negation. There is not likewise, tatha. It is not likewise. What is not likewise? Sukhad abhilasha. Desire to get joy or pleasure. He is saying, once you are stuck with, say, I am thirsty, my throat is parched. Summer conditions. I am thirsty. Now I rush to get a glass of water. It's not that I want a glass of water. That water will give me a kind of joy. It is so delicious. I am going after a glass of water to get rid of the pain of thirst. Is it not that I want the joy of taste of water? Water is tasteless. Is it not? So he is saying, when we are stuck with a pain, the Purush, the owner of the system, is very uneasy. And there is no such behavior seen towards joy. If I am not thirsty, I don't go for a glass of water, don't rush after that. Is it not? There is nothing like that. So he is saying there is a mechanism within us that when I am stuck with a pain, I want to get away from it. And when I am not with a pain, then there is no great desire that I should get some sort of a joy. He is emphasizing that getting away from pain is our higher priority than getting into joy or pleasures of life. Now, next statement, he is kind of putting his stamp on it so that, the worldly people are those who replace dukh with sukh. So their strategy is dukh nivetti by sukh pavetti. Is it not? So he is saying this kind of strategy is faulty. This will get you nowhere. You will spend your whole life and you will see the sukh is like a mirage. You are never there, is it not? That he says in statement number 7, kutrapi, anywhere, ko api, anybody. So he is challenging us. Anywhere in the world, any human being have you met who will say, I am Sukhi? So Kapil is saying, if you adopt the strategy, Dukh Nivitti replaced by Sukh Pavitti, you are never with Sukh. Once you get one object of pleasure, you will be going after next object of pleasure. And even one object of pleasure is with you, your mind will be hovering. Will it always stay with me? Or somebody will snatch it away from me? Or I may not be able to enjoy it. Sometimes delicious food is there, but you are sick and you don't have the appetite. You don't feel like eating. So even if the object of pleasure is there, and it is not that you get it easily, you have to make a great effort. That was also filled with dukh to acquire the object of pleasure. And that is what is elaborated in statement number 8. He says, tadapi. Tad means that also. What is that? The sukh. That sukh is dukh shabalam iti. Shabal meaning is mixed with. So any sukh is always mixed with dukh. It took so much of effort to acquire it, and now your mind is worried if this will get lost or I may not be able to enjoy it, etc., etc. So any sukh is mixed with dukh. Then he says, dukh pakshe is classified as dukh. Nikshipante vivechaka. Vivechaka is those people who have achieved that kat katyata. We defined statement number 5 or 6 that was I'm sorry, my throat is not clear. Kat katyata is statement number 5. I have done what was to be done. One who has come to that state is called vivechaka. They have seen all the aspects of life. They have seen all aspects of life. Kapil is one of them. Then only he has the authority to write this book. So he is saying, you may not appreciate it, but all these noble people, not in noble in the worldly sense, those who have achieved kat katyata, I have done what was to be done. For the reasons that any sukh is inherently mixed with dukh, it is like delicious food, but there is poison in it. You will not eat it then. Once you are told the food is delicious, but there is poison. So in the same manner, he says, every sukh is classified as dukh. Every sukh is classified as dukh by those who have achieved the highest wisdom. The highest wisdom is that of kat katyata. So at statement number 9, he has talked about ourself and its ability to acquire knowledge through 5 sensory organs. Because we are conscious beings, not only knowledge turns into an experience. And experience gives rise to a spectrum of pleasure or pain. And then we get into action mode. Worldly people go from dukh to sukh, but then Kapil is trying to say that is not going to work out. However smart you are, the dukh will strike you in your life. So better prepare yourself in another direction. So the first worldly direction Upanishad is saying as Veer Marg, Piya, something is dear to us, the worldly path. But the other path is not very attractive, but it is superior. It is called Shreya Marg. That is the path, not trying to go from dukh to sukh, but from dukh nivritti to atyant dukh nivritti. So the path he is telling us is not mere dukh nivritti, but atyant dukh nivritti. Absolute cessation of all kinds of pain and misery. Let's move on to statement number 10 now. Statement number says, Nigunat, Nigunatva, Nigunatvam, Atmano. You know, the Atma was the word in the statement number 1. And we have also seen the word Purush. So Purush and Atma are synonym. That is consciousness. So he is saying Atma is Nirgunatva. I will come to this term slightly later. There are two parts of this statement. Atma is Nirgunatva. Then he says Asangatvadi. Asang means nothing adheres to it. Nothing sticks to it. You know. We have heard the word satsang. Satsang means company of good people, is it not? Sang is what is close to you. So Atma is characterized as asang, means it is not untouched, it is not touched by anything. Asang means that is untouchable. Nothing will stick to it. Nothing will touch it. Who says that? Shruti. Shruti is for the Vedas. So the latter part of the statement is Vedas characterize Atma as asang, untouchable. And first part of his statement is Atma is also Nirgunatva. You know, you are familiar with this thing. In Sankhya, Prakriti is described as Trigunatmak. So gun here, generally the word gun has wide-ranging meanings, characteristics, like an adjective. Like dharm has dharmi, gun has guni. The thing that exhibits all these characteristics. So for practical purpose, you can look at dharm and guna as dharmi as dipole with dharmi and guni. This is the general meaning of the term guna. But the term guna in Sankhya is a technical term that Prakriti has three guna. Three is for three. Prakriti has three guna. They are called as Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So we have seen in introduction Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Samyavastha, Prakriti. So when the three gunas are in equilibrium, Prakriti is in its very primary state. And all the things that we see in the nature, in the world, including our own body, it is made of matter. So I will use the word matter for Prakriti. But the material world that we see, now the three gunas are not in equilibrium. There is a lot of interplay of them. So please understand, and I did say it briefly in our introduction, because matter constitutes three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and they are always in interplay. They give rise to all sorts of manifestation. Nothing is here static in the world, is it? Everything is changing. And every moment we may not notice it, but even our desk Our laptop, our chair, they may look it is same as what it was yesterday, but no. At molecular level, things are changing. They may not be perceptible to our sensory organs, but they are always, every moment, things are changing. Like a river is flowing every moment. There are ocean currents, there are waves. Every moment, things are happening. Why are they happening? The changes are called as parinamita. I don't want to load you with a lot of technical Sanskrit terms, but the reason I say it, if you know it, then you will get another perspective of it. If you don't know it, don't worry about it, because I will always translate it. There are very few terms I refuse to translate, like upasana. I don't translate it. So there are certain terms I don't translate, but then I will describe them, what I mean by them. So there will be some new terms to your own personal vocabulary, but I try to minimize it. I don't like to overload you with this kind of a jargon. So I offer Sanskrit terms just as an additional way to appreciate the knowledge that we are trying to get to it. So we are here at statement number 10, where Kapila is telling us two things. First thing is, Atma is Nigunatva. As opposed to matter, Atma has no guna. Now this guna is not Guni and Guna. This guna is Sattva as Tamas. Please try to understand. Don't get confused. Because if you read too many books, too many people write too many kinds of things. Many of them are also confused. So they diffuse their confusion. It's diffusion of confusion. But in Aisamaj, Maharishi Dayanand, one thing we have inherited is we should try to get to the harsh meaning, the Rishi. What is Rishi trying to tell us? You know. So in this present context, Atma is Nigunatva, meaning Atma is void of any guna what matter exhibits. And because of matter as guna, matter goes through transformation, parinamita, changes. Atma goes through no change whatsoever because it has no guna at the first place. Now Kapil is saying, okay, this itself is without guna, but maybe something, something sticks to it. Then he says, that is also not possible because the Vedas describe Atma as asankar. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can stick to it. So this is a statement he is making in number 10. You must be wondering what was the need to do it. The need is, now why does the Atma say I am Sukhi and I am Dukhi? That is a big riddle, is it not? If Atma goes through no transformation, if nothing sticks to it, then how come somebody says I am Sukhi and an hour later he says I am Dukhi? How did so much of change take place? So we'll do one more. Statement number 11. Just so that, otherwise we will lose sleep. We know the riddle but no solution. So statement number 11, he says, Pardharmatve api. Api also, I said as also, and api is also for even though, even as if. even as if Mattua. Per means others. The Bhog, Sukh and Dukh is dharma of somebody else. Even though Sukh and Dukh is a dharma or is a characteristic of something else, Tat Siddhi, Atma feels it as if it is his. Atma says, I am Sukhi, I am Dukhi. Actually, Sukh and Dukh is the dharma of something else. But he begins to feel like, due to avivekat. Avivekat is absence of wisdom. You know, that Kritkatyata was the highest wisdom. Because he has not achieved that wisdom, he is inflicted with avivek, absence of wisdom. So he doesn't know who he is. So the short answer is, I am I, Atma alone. But when I feel that I am, my mind is me, then all these problems arise, you know, because changes are taking place in my mind, not in me. So a particular state of my mind, I classify it as dukh. A particular state of my mind, I classify as sukh. And then I lose my sense and I say as if that state of mind is my state. No, that is not my state. I am here. Mind is different from me. So this is an answer he offers, that why you feel sukhi and dukhi. And now he will say in statement number 12, how did we get stuck with our vivek? Our vivek is anadi. So we are following a particular flow chart. He is a great scientist. There is a flow, one statement from another, and you have to try to understand in what context he is saying what, so that we don't deviate from his path. Otherwise, we will lose the meanings. And to get prasad. So let us end here today, and we are at statement 12. I don't know. That's where we will start when we meet next Saturday. Any question? Then this is the right time.
Acharji,
Yes.
the sixth sutra. I think there are two types of people. One who will be following the one who is deprived of food for about 3-4 days. Then he feels that whatever he can get as food to eat, he will eat without any objection. But person who is not so hungry can have a choice to drive 2 blocks away to have a good food. So can you please explain a little more on this?
Well, this is our day-to-day life. That's not going to be very specific. This next is Kutapi ko api sukheti. We are all matured people here. We know it, that if sukh is our driving force, then we will never succeed in our life. So these are, the occasions, and how do we interpret occasions is of not much of relevance here. I am not cutting out your question. What I am saying is, we are all mature people here. We know it, that dukh replaced by sukh is not a strategy, and we are all adults. We have seen it in our personal lives. And his next statement, Kutapi ko api sukhiti, kind of closes it. And in Yoga Darshan also, we have a sutta, second chapter, Parinam Tap Sanskar Dukhay Gun Vitti Vyudhacha. So we can go on amplifying all these things. I think this should be easy to understand that if I am stuck with dukh, the priority is always to get away from dukh. And if somebody is wise enough, and this is where Patanjali's one statement is very powerful about Santosh. So he is saying, Sukha Santoshad Anuttama Sukh Labh. So, even as a worldly man, he is telling us tentatively, tentatively, once you are away from dukh, you consolidate this particular state as contentment. Don't go for sukh. If you consolidate this state, word of dukh, as you are contented, then you will understand what yoga and Sankhya are talking about. Generally, a common man gets away from one dukh and then he thinks now he has a luxury for sukh. So he goes after sukh. Patanjali says that is not going to work out. Once you are away from dukh, and nobody here will deny that there is not a moment in your life when you were without dukh, is it not? Nobody can say 24 by 7 I am dukhi. So there are always some moments when you are untouched by dukh, you consolidate that moment. That is what their message is. So you will say, this is what is called chitta prasadanam. I am fine. This is the starting point, and it will come here in the statement I will tell you. We will be getting there. Statement 31 in 6th chapter. So we'll be discussing it. The statement is na sthan niyama chitta prasada. And that is also in Yoga Darshan. Chapter 1, I think it is very famous statement, 1.33. Maiti karuna mudita upeksha sukh dukh punya punyam chitta prasadanam. So Rishi is always saying, when we talk about dukh and sukh, there is what they have in mind is dukh and sukh is fluctuations in mind. Is it not? So what they are saying is try to get away from these fluctuations of your mind. And if your mind is reasonably pure, that is where Ashuddhi will come into picture. If your mind is pure, you will have you will have inherent joy. Like a small child, if he is without a pain, he is happy. He doesn't have to have sukh. Most of the children, small children. Or try to imagine, if childhood is not a good analogy, try to imagine, there is a statement here, but not in 6th chapter. Our Ramohanji is very studious. I think the statement is in 5th chapter. It is Panchagani Avayo Vidya Sukh Samvitta, something like that. You can search for it. It is Sankhya 5th chapter. And Dayanand also writes somewhere, I think in Satyagrah, Vidya Prapti se bada sukh nahi. Just imagine we are all slightly above the worldly people, slightly above the world. That is a class of people where there is no Ashuddhi in Chitta. What is this class of people? They never do anything wrong in their life. Most of us are, except probably for me, we have yaman. niyam very much in our life, is it not? So if you have yam and niyam very much in your life, then what happens? Then imagine, and this is something true for all of us, when you get a piece of knowledge and you understand it, it gives you a joy, you know. So this joy is different from bhog, you know. Try to understand it. When you get to understand some riddle which was unsolvable, that is a joy of knowledge, and that is a your inherent state of chitta. You know what we will see later on is chit is sattva pradhan. Chit by design is rich in sattva, and sattva corresponds to sukh. So what Rishi is telling us is don't go after sukh and dukh which is resultant of an external object of pleasure. Your own chitta, that instrument, is inherently supposed to be in a serene, calm state. So we are not talking at this point about high level of chittavritti nirodh. We are talking about chit in its calm state. And that chit in calm state is void of dukh, you know. Are you with me? So
Yes,
that
Sankhya.
is when you get a piece of knowledge, because the business of chit is to give you knowledge. So this is by design, it is rich in sattva. If you let it function what its original nature is, it will always be, your life will be mostly good. The reason it doesn't happen is our chitta has become very, very fluctuating. And it is so much fluctuating is because of all the externalities. So that's why I said we have to rise slightly above the worldly people, and then we are in a very, that is a life of contentment. You know. And then of course the now we will get into it slightly later, maybe next week or week after that. He will say that the strategy he is giving, Atyant Dukh Nivritti, has a byproduct advantage, and that is Ishwar Anand. So now the Anand will come, which is which is which is not a state of your mind, you know. So it is very difficult to translate Anand into English, because all these words, joy, pleasure, happiness, all this is state of your mind. But Anand is when you are disconnect from mind, then you are connect with that infinite ocean of Anand. So Yoga Chittavritti Niyod implicitly means when you have achieved that, you are in Anand. So we are talking about three levels. The worldly Sukh and Dukh, where he is tentatively telling us, motivating us not to replace Dukh by Sukh. And if we listen to his message, if we trust him, with meditation practice, we will come to a higher level where the ashuddhis will vanish. You know. So first level of progress in meditation is when chitta becomes purified. Of course, it was pure as a child, but now as an adult, we have picked up all kinds of impurities. And at that point, you will have what rishis are talking about, chitta prasadanam, a general feeling of good. And then you have progressed enough, chitta vritti nirodha, then you will get the taste of Anand. So that is what the journey is, from Annamaya course to Pranamaya to Manomaya to Vijnanmaya, and finally every human being is playing in these four layers. But with meditation practice, I gain the ability to go to the fifth layer. And when I have the fifth layer, then there is nothing in the world that will attract me, because then I become confident I have source of Anand within me. You know. So this is a strategy of life, but somebody has to. It's all tentative because we have no idea what Anand is. We have no idea. So, but we have to trust Kapil and Patanjali for the time being, and that tentative trust is called Shraddha. So, Shraddha is not blind faith. So, Patanjali has a statement: Shraddha Vijya Smriti Samadhi Pajya. So, that is statement 1 point, I think something 20 or so. Any other question, please? Yes. Pratima.
Acharyaji, uh,
Okay.
Anybody?
Acharyaji, I had my hand on. I am just a bit confused here that on one side we are saying that I know I am. That's why that proves that I am conscious. Yeah, because I believe, I know, I am, my existence is there. But on the other side, we are saying here that when I have got a pain, that pain or that dukkha is not felt or by my soul, like the Purusha or the, and that is just because I feel I am in pain, is because I am associating with some kind of not knowledge or ignorance. Am I right in believing, or I have understood something wrong?
No, I think at this point, this is where we are. That I treat my mind as a part of me because of avivek.
Eh,
So this avivek is slightly different from avidya.
mhm.
We'll see it slightly later.
Okay.
You know, then avidya gives rise to asmita klesh, and that asmita klesh is in particular to treat my mind as me. So these are now avivek will give rise to. There is a cascading effect. Cascading effect to the extent that our chitta becomes impure. You know, so we will have to see it step by step. But you are right. I am. I am not. I am that Chaitanya. Now I have an instrument, namely buddhi. That's what chit is, and that is what will help me go to Katkatyata. But in the meanwhile, I am stuck with pain also. When my buddhi has a particular behavioral pattern, which is subjective because to one it gives rise to pain, but to another it may not cause pain, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question that you are asking is, if this is me and this is my chitta, you know, if something is happening here, why don't I know that it is not happening to me? But you are at your age, I will say, as a grandmother, you have seen all kinds of things in your life, and you would have to deal with your children and grandchildren. So sometimes you must have told your children, well, yes, this has happened to you, but you can be detached from it. You can slightly take it. Like somebody used foul words, somebody said something wrong or did something wrong to a child. Then you say, look, what the other person said was his business. You did hear those words, But you can say, you can imagine as if I didn't hear the words. That's it, you know. So you are trying to educate your child or grandchild to take a view of life, because so many things happen in the world and we cannot control all the events in the world. But there are occasions when we can be detached from certain events for our own safety, for our own good, is it not? Otherwise, you feel bad that he said this to me, he did this to me. Actually, what wrong was somebody else did something wrong, and you are getting hurt unnecessarily. So, what I'm trying to say is, we know how to educate other person to accept an event that has already taken place and not to let mortgage our life to somebody else, is it not? We don't want to do that. So one is I can retaliate, then I am doing tit for tat. Maybe sometimes it is good, but sometimes it's, we just forget and forgive, finish it. So the point I'm trying to say is, we do teach our children and grandchildren to be slightly detached from certain events of life. And that's what detachment, that is what is Vairagya. All this will come in these
same
stories.
detachment we have to consider for our my soul and my body.
Yeah, if we apply that same thing to our own self, then we are upgrading our thinking and getting more mature. Yes, Pratibhaji.
Yes. I was wondering, what are some words that are similar or the same as Anand or Ananda? Can you say?
Yeah, it is Ananda. It is in English people.
Well, no, actually, I meant in Sanskrit. Some other words that are similar to Anand or Ananda in Sanskrit words.
No, there is either way you have said it is the same word, Ananda.
Okay, so are there no other Sanskrit
No,
word?
no other word I am aware of.
That's okay. Okay. May I say something to the previous questioner?
Yes, yes.
It is like a continuum. I would like to suggest that it is like a continuum of this pain or dukkha we're speaking about. Is that it's not only psychological, it can be mental, it can be physical. And even though there's physical pain, you may want so much to have that calmness and peacefulness in your mind. It doesn't occur because also the physical pain is a real obstacle to having a Ananda type of mind or a peaceful mind. And sometimes that's really disturbing. But it's a fact.
Thank you.
There is a very wide spectrum. Sometimes you are pained even if something goes wrong with the body, you have been hurt. But sometimes you may be pained if your car has picked up a dent. Sometimes you may be pained because the house walls have disfigured. So, it just depends on how much attached you are, to what extent.
Or your friend has done better than you.
Yes. There is no end to it.
Is the pain number one.
So
somebody has.
Okay, I think that was a good session.
But pain is there to teach us a lesson too, right? Pain teaches us a lesson, whatever it can be, physical, emotional, mental pain, but it makes us better person in the end. That's why I love this session, because Acharya ji हमेशा says सुख तो बिल्कुल दुख का ही कारण बनते हैं.
Yeah, finally everything gets, what Vyas is saying, Purush is Buddhi Pati Samvedi. The knowledge must get registered at the level of Buddhi, then you know it. So then it is now at the level of Jnana, that much is true, but it becomes Bhog when you kind of embrace it. So that's what Kapil is saying, Chid Avsano Bhog. It doesn't, because we are inflicted with avivek, we are in bondage, one thing is bound to happen. Some information from the world or knowledge, whatever you call it, will come to your buddhi. That same buddhi is called chitta. We are not going into that detail at this point. What Vyas is saying is, if something has come on buddhi, you are bound to know it. That no power in the world can not let that happen. But this jnana does not have to become bhog. For this to become bhog, you are actually embracing it. So jnana, it is not mandatory that jnana vritti will become bhog vritti. It is not. That is your idea, how much of personal space you are able to provide in between. So, Acharya, because of the bondage, you will get to know many things in the world that is brought up to your buddhi or chitta level. But you have getting to know them, okay, that has to happen. If it is, even in dreams, what is happening, we get to know it. But this jnana does not have to become bhog. This becomes bhog only when you let it fall upon yourself. Yeah. When you let it fall upon yourself. I had forgotten this bit. So your ability to stay away from it is called vairagya, detachment. Acharyaji, just a crazy thought that if there is no pain and if there is no realization of pain, probably will not go towards moksha. Number one, but I just recalled an incident from Mahabharata, even if we don't see it's a real thing, but there is a very good presentation of when after 18 days they to cremate all Kauravas and Krishna is leaving, and there is a known as Kunti Stuti. So Kunti holds Krishna and she says, don't go, I'm not liking it. And Krishna says, I was there when you had any kind of problem in the world. So Kunti said, bless me with only pains, because when I am in pain, only then you will be with me. Now I have got all my pains over, and you are leaving me as well. So even in Bhakti Marg, that pain brings things, the real good things close to you. You don't turn towards Almighty unless you really have pain. And she says some kind of desire or pain. So Krishna said, what do you want? She said, bless me. I don't want power. I don't want money. I don't want affluence. I don't want anything. She said, what else you want, Buaji? This is what Buaji. She said, I need pain. Dukh. Because only in Dukh you will be with me. She said, as long as I was in trouble, you lived with me. Now you are leaving me. So it's almost 3-4 chapters on this in Bhagavatam. It's known as Kunti Stuti. So not many people can understand, but now we can relate when we read about this, that unless we have the feeling of dukh, probably the attempt or go in the line of meditation and then achieve moksha probably may not be that strong. If
acceptance make it easier, if you accept it, then it becomes less, and then you are on the right path. I think so. And Kunti's was very right too, that she needed more pain. Yeah.
It's written. I'm not a Jnani man, but
I know that. Yeah,
I have heard that anyone can refer to, if it is a pure Bhagavad, that she asked Krishna. He said, "What else you want?" She said, "Give me pain."
so that you come back to me and you live with me. So if you treat Krishna as Anand or pleasure, I mean, that's the only way.
There's another phrase of if you're when you're in prison, you feel you're imprisoned. That's when you need the freedom. But if you don't feel you're in
Yes.
prison, then nothing takes place.
That's so true, Pratibha.
So then can we also say that we are already in bliss, but we just don't know and we adopt other problems just by our ignorance or our karmas or our bhog or because we have done something we got to pay back. Otherwise, our soul is always in bliss. We are already.
No, we are deprived.
But our senses are making us do this. Atma and senses, the senses are overpowering, no? That's why
Atma has no bliss.
Yeah.
Atma is deprived of bliss. We are Sat and Chit, and only Ishwar is Sat, Chit and Anand Swarup, and that's the deprivation, which we are not aware that what we need, and we do all those stupid karmas in this life, get a bigger car, bigger house, this and that, but we know we have a deprivation, and that deprivation is the Anand of the guide or the Brahm for which we are a part. So he's Anshi, we are Ansh, but he's Satchit and Anand, we are only Sat and Chit. We are eternal, we are conscious, but he hasn't given us that Anand, but he has given us what Acharya ji, he has given us Acharya ji to learn how to reach that Anand and how to know that. So the main difference between this group and the
Atma is just Sat Chit. I'm going back to basics. Sorry.
Yes, Atma is Sat Chit. Yeah, I agree.
Every day pray to God and thank Him for sending you. For knowing
no, us Acharya ji always told us it's so easy to go to माँ की गोद में जैसे जाते हैं ईश्वर की गोद में जाना इतना सरल है इतना simple meditation कौन सिखाता है so like you know who you are if we keep on going there तो दुख से ही हम अगर वहाँ जा रहे हैं तो भी we can reach to that state because I think आनंद आत्मा जो है वो सच्चित आनंद ही है
नहीं आत्मा lacks आनंद and that's why this meditation takes us to Anand. If we had Anand, then we are as good as probably the creator.
Our rishis did a very wonderful thing. They pointed out another state of sushupti, that deep dreamless sleep.
Yeah.
That is something we are all familiar with. And we are not stuck with any pain in sushupti, So that is a remarkable state. So they took us to something we are familiar with, and then they said in the daytime you try to replicate that state when mind is thoroughly inactive, and so that's it. It's very simple actually, is it not? Sushupti is void of pain, and nobody can say, and indeed even when a drug addict, he doesn't take the path of meditation, he is on a shortcut. What does he achieve? He achieves sushupti, is it not?
Yeah.
That is not Anand really, but sushupti is also so good that people want it. But what we are learning from Sankhya, Yoga, etc., we can get a state better than Sushupti, one order, that's what they call as Samadhi. And where it is not only absence of dukh like in Sushupti, but real-time taste of Anand.
Yeah.
So Sushupti is good because it is void of pain. But there is no real-time taste. We have no idea where we are in Sushupti. Only when we come out of it, we say it was a nice good sleep. But Samadhi is real time, So Samadhi or whatever Kapil Patanjali is saying is not baseless. Sushupti is the basic. which everybody is familiar with. So they are merely saying, in Sushupti, there are no fluctuations in your mind. Try to get the same state in the daytime, as simple as that. Okay, I think that was very good.
Yes, thank you. It was very good. Thank you.
Again next week and continue from this point.
But Acharyaji, English is much better than Vedic Sanskrit.
How is it much better?
Those words, ma'am, you cannot understand. I have booked what he is teaching, and every line I get stuck. I put a question mark, and then those words in normal Hindi dictionary you will not find. So he makes things so simple. When I hear in English, I have made maybe 10 pages of notes, but whenever I hear him in English, Hindi, I am always.
No, but he explains so well, Sanskrit. Sanskrit is, I don't know, but of course I can't read it, but I understand very well. It's really great. Acharyaji really makes it very
easy.
Very powerful.
English is much easier, Acharya.
Yes, it does mean a lot to hear it. We don't have to know as much about writing it. Well, I know that would be better, but.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Acharyaji. आपका बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you. Thank you.
Through the week, I wonder, could we study a little together or something?
Yeah, at least one line the way Acharyaji reads Sanskrit. I wish I could do that. Maybe Prem Batraji teaches us Sanskrit.
Oh, not yet. This Sanskrit you can't understand, but Acharyaji understands. It comes to Acharyaji from above.
Yes,
I have been doing Sanskrit for the last 12 years.
A Samprajat Samadhi has been achieved by our Acharya.
Acharyaji has achieved.
Otherwise,
he gets all the meanings from above. You cannot get the meanings by doing the Sanskrit translation.
I agree. Yeah, you are right.
I have tried it.
Blessed soul. Yeah.
I know good level of Sanskrit. I am doing Panini Vyakaran also.
Yeah.
That's why I cannot. I really want to get into that. It has become my passion. But I am 100% sure about that. It is not Acharyaji's Sanskrit. It is Acharyaji's.
Yeah.
It's more important to spend the time on the pranayama and meditation. More will be accomplished that way, but
I hope so. But I haven't been. I am seeing some benefits, but my benefits are very slow. Maybe I am too much into the world, or I don't know. Maybe my karmas are not yet udrit.
I think. Are you doing regular practice?
I do regular meditation. I do regular reading swadhyaya.
No. The meditation and the pranayama is the one.
I do that pranayama and prayers both. But somehow my mind still runs away. Yeah.
The prayers are all just the beginning. You need the pranayama and be able to sit quiet without moving.
That's meditation, ma'am.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking if she's doing.
I do, but I can't say I do meditation.
Acharyaji,
I sit quietly.
Okay, I'm going to suggest, if you wish, because I do have a lot of experience with it. I had a wonderful master.
Acharyaji, I was in a trade show, in an aircraft trade show. It's a massive one here in Farnborough, and every day I had to get up by, reach there by 9. The only reason that I had to meditate for my 1 hour, I had to get up at 5:30, which I've never done in my life. But every day I ensured I didn't do my exercises, but I made it. One day I missed 15 minutes, so I did it 45 minutes. But I did not, this was impossible for me to cut down on this 1 hour. It has, it goes into the body that you can't achieve.
No, I also wake up around sometime 3:30, 4:30.
So that's a different reason. I had this problem. Probably my wife said, this is the time you must do yoga, because I have started doing 1 hour. And then it wakes me up 3:34, and then it's almost 40 minutes, 50 minutes, I'm away. So I have to sleep somehow again and then get up. But what I was saying that in a trade show, I was walking 10, 15,000 steps, standing whole day, talking to people. So you need more rest. I mean, from early morning to late night, dinner and all those things. But for meditation, still I'll get up somehow and sit for 1 hour.
Same here.
Wonderful.
I do, but Kuvinderji, my success rate is not that good.
You
I
must
get
try hard.
affected. Basically, maybe I am a very emotional person. I don't know, but yes, someday I know it will come. The changes
No
are.
excuses. Just sit. Just sit.
I do. I sit honestly.
No. I have started shouting at my chitta if it goes away. Acharya has taught us so many things. Isho Upanishad. Om Krato Smara. I start shouting at him. He said, the Lord has said, Om Krato Smara, Om Krato Smara. Don't go anywhere. It listens to you. If you become strict with it, it will listen. Just don't let it loose. No.
I think I will request Acharya ji to send me some blessings. That might do something. But yes, I still can't say that I go into from dharana to samadhi easily. And I don't come back. I come back easily, but I go back with an effort.
That is what we can do. I mean, even if you get
but I do.
seconds.
I do, because without that, my day would not start.
Yeah, no. Few seconds if we get, out of 1 hour, I just say if I get 15 seconds, it's too much. And then Acharya, one day I asked him, it's all getting credited to our sanskar. So it's not going waste, even those
that's
5
why I am
seconds and 10
hopeful.
seconds.
I am hopeful that someday a penny will drop.
No, you are still talking money. It's a baggage for next year. I tell people is my baggage for next lives. That I'm collecting here. Good sanskar. So whatever suffering I have, I want to get rid of them, go happy, come back again, get someone like Acharya ji, and then just keep growing. So that's the baggage. Sanskar every day.
That's my baggage. Probably my baggage is a bit heavier, which is taking time to get rid of. But I do. I get a lot of pleasure. I'm very, very happy person.
Everybody is in their unique journey, like there are so many ifs and buts, but still, like if you're connected to the source, that gives you a lot of strength. That's it. And I do sit too, and I really enjoy. And whenever I sit, all the words of Acharya ji comes to my mind, and it makes it much more meaningful.
Practice, practice, practice.
I think that was very good.
Acharya ji, listening to our chit chat.
Acharya ji was saying, "Ek log kaise students hai mere."
And now Acharya ji will say, "What a waste! What I have done." I have created such people.
Acharya ji, I'm sometimes scared to this thing. Acharya ji will say again, I have told you the whole Ramayana. You are saying who was Ram?
No, it happens. I mean, you go back. The confusion is so complicated that someday, who this comes, that whether I am ordering, who is saying, do this? Is me Atma or Buddhi? This is the biggest confusion I get. I mean, almost once in 2-3 months, I get confused, and again,
I feel that's the progress. I think that's the big progress when you start thinking, who is telling me? Is my Buddhi or my Atma? Yeah, okay.
Difficult.
All the Acharya go. Yes, thank you.
Acharya, get well soon.
Again next week.
Keep good health.
Namaste. Thank you.